Hello and welcome to this little cooking session. Today we're going to be making a real staple, tomato sauce. Now I really don't know why people buy this in jars in the supermarket when it's so easy, so cheap and so delicious to make it yourself. So there's basically just three ingredients: an onion, piece of garlic and a cheap tin of tomatoes. So let's get going. Now when you chop your onion, try to avoid the temptation to go across the equator like that. Always go north to south from the pointy end to the root end. Put your hand over it like that, put your knife through the tunnel and cut straight through. Okay, so now I've peeled my onion. Here's the root bit. I'm going to put that, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to put that in my left hand, down flat on the board like that. And now I'm going to take my knife and just cut through. I don't want to cut right through, I'm leaving that rooty bit there like that. Just make a few little cuts down like that. Then we turn it around 90 degrees. Cut through, keep your fingers out of the way. Chop the rooty bits out, and put that away, I don't want that. Let's do that again. Root there, get your fingers so that they're curled out of the way, cut through, don't cut right through the onion, leave the root so that it holds the onion together, turn it around 90 degrees, there we are. That's so easy, and there's lovely, nice, small pieces of onion all ready to cook. Okay, I'm going to put these onions in the pan now. The pan's just getting warm. Put a little bit of oil in. Just pick these up. Pop them in. We'll wait for it to go sizzling. So you see they're starting to sizzle now. That smells nice. So now I'm just going to turn it down because I want these to cook really, really slowly. While we do that, I'm just going to cut my garlic. Alright, we'll take the end off, a little bit off the end, and then put the blade of the knife across your garlic, give it a little bash, and the skin comes off. Right, we cut it in two, and then just keeping your fingers out of the way, chop it up like that. Okay, now these onions are doing nicely now. The temptation is always to rush this bit. I'm very impatient, so I often do this too quickly, but if you just give it time, let the onions soften, then their sweetness will come out. Now they're almost cooked, so now I'm going to put the garlic in. The garlic cooks much quicker, so you put it in a bit later in the cooking process. So we'll put that in there, and we're just going to give it another minute more, stir it around. Okay, now we're ready to put the tomatoes in. We'll just tip them straight in. Obviously, this is going to cool the pan down, so we can turn it up just a couple of notches, because we want this now to mix in with the onions and the garlic and start to come to the boil. And when it comes to the boil again, we're going to turn it right down again because we want this to simmer gently. Now, can you see it's bubbling? So I'm going to turn it right down to the lowest because we don't want it to bubble too fiercely. Now we're just going to put a bit of flavouring in. First of all, I'm going to put a bit of salt. So I'm just going to put a couple of grinds of salt in there. Now we're going to put about half a teaspoon of pepper in there. I love black pepper. Looks like quite a lot, but honestly, trust me, it gives it a nice taste. We're actually going to put a little bit of sugar in, not too much. Now this is the difference between the bought sauces. They add tons of sugar in, but when you make it yourself, you can control how much sugar is going into your sauce. And finally, we're going to add my favourite ingredient, dried mixed herbs. Again, about half a teaspoon of that. Probably not even that much. That'll do. And just stir them in. Now that would do, but if you wanted to make it just a little bit richer and thicker, I'll just go to the fridge and get some tomato puree, because I like my tomato sauce to taste nice and tomatoey. Here we go. Just a nice squodge, like that. If you haven't got this, don't worry about it, but I think it makes it just nicer. So if you've got some in, pop it in your sauce. And basically, all that we've got to do now is just wait. Now, if you want, you can just make this sauce like that in about the time it takes your pasta to cook. But I like to let it cook for a good long time so it bubbles down and all the flavours really develop. So I'm just going to put a little bit of water in the tin and pour it in there, and that makes it much more watery, but as it evaporates, the flavour of tomato will really develop and get sweeter and nicer as we go. Okay, now that's been doing for a few minutes, and now look, it's starting to get thick and these little bubbles are coming up. Now, you might like your sauce chunky like that, and that's absolutely fine, or you might like it a bit smoother. If you want to make it a bit smoother, you can just push out the big bits of tomato with a potato masher, or even just a fork. Now when you think your sauce is ready, it's really important to taste what you just cooked. I'm just going to take a little spoonful and check it. That tastes so good. You might think you might need a bit more salt, a bit more pepper, a bit more sugar, or a bit more tomato puree, a few more herbs. It doesn't matter. If you wanted, you could add some chilies in. If you like things spicy, you could put some chili powder in here. But I think that tastes lovely, so I'm going to leave it at that. Now, stick with me, because I'm just going to show you what you can do with this sauce. Now that's so simple. Now you can just have that tomato sauce with some spaghetti, and that's a lovely meal. But what you can do is so many things with this sauce once you've made it. In fact, I just made it with one tin, but if I were you, if you're making it, you might as well have 2, even 3 tins in a big saucepan and a few more onions, and just take your time and make a nice batch. And you can put it in bags, put it in the freezer, then whenever you want tomato sauce, bang, you got it. Here's spaghetti and meatballs. Doesn't that look nice? This is one sausage. And what I did was just squeeze the sausage meat out of the skin into a little oil in the pan, and just gently fry it in the pan until it goes nice and brown. Pour in the sauce, put in your cooked spaghetti, stir it around. Bob's your uncle. You've got the sauce already, so it makes the whole thing so simple to make. Simple pasta bake. What I did there, I just put a few vegetables that I found in the bottom of the fridge. I've got a little bit of pepper, a couple of mushrooms, another half an onion. Well, you could use anything. You just gently fry them in the pan, then you add your sauce, add your cooked pasta. I've used these penne pastas. Mix it together, put it in the dish, sprinkle cheese on, whack it under the grill for 10 minutes. Beautiful. And look, this sauce works for pizza too. I got a little pizza base. This is so much nicer than those little cheap jobs you get in the supermarket. Look at the crust on the bottom. I did that in the pan. I'm going to be showing you in another session how to make your own bread dough. You could do this with a pita bread if you like, but it's so nice if you learn to make your own dough. So I'll show you actually how to do the pizza another time, but that is a thing of beauty. Enjoy. Well, thanks for sticking with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you make your own tomato sauce and enjoy just playing with it and having fun making some different recipes with it. I hope to see you next time when we will be making bread.